Yo, I'm in the building. Get a little light, be able to understand what you're seeing today. Come on in the building, you guys. Come on in the building. It's your homie HerbMan. But see, you back upside of here with another hot banger. Go tell somebody. Go tell somebody. Let's get to the top right. We'll get into the subject matter at hand, man. We're gonna keep on busting your guys up side to head with some of this hot banger boogie. Okay, that's what we're gonna be doing. We saucing it up. Continue to allow you guys to understand that there is a way for us to be able to take our health into our own hands and heal ourselves. And this is not by a product, right? I can't tell you that it's one of these health wishes that you're looking for. But what we can tell you that is that there is a program. It may not be one product, but there is a program and you can utilize it and get you back on your way to being happy, whole, and well again, you guys. So that's what we do here on the Herb Man Show, man. We teach people how to heal themselves. And you cannot heal yourself until you know thyself. So we teach you guys years of this rhetoric about understanding the balance between the yin and the yang, but then balancing the just the whole balancing act of the higher and the lower self. We keep on telling you guys that this is just this battle, this eternal battle that we have to face at some point. Look, if you don't face a battle, if you don't know that you're in a battle, 9 times out of 10, what'll happen is you guys will be able to start to get into a situation where you get picked up. Okay, and you don't want to get picked off, you guys. Right? You don't want to be an innocent bystander to life. Right? Be aware and you have to be conscious to know that you are in a battle for your own longevity, for your own life. And so we can cry about social engineering, we can cry about this, and we can cry about that. But at the end of the day, if you can't wake up out of the dream, if you can't wake up out of the funk, if you can't get your ass up out of the maze, then what happen is you find yourself getting cut up and caught up. So what we have to realize is our awareness is everything. To be aware, to be prepared is the first rule of thumb to any kind of engagement when we're talking about the rules of engagement of any kind of conflict. And so what is the conflict? Okay? The conflict is between you and nature. Your ignorance will create industry in areas that shouldn't even be industry because we should be able to understand these things as our daily goals and our daily stuff. So what we do here on the Herb Show is I teach you first nature and what that looks like. That's what we are first trying to do. What does nature first, right? So we know that this is the ecliptic of the sun. Okay, this is the north, this is the south, this will be the east, and this will be the west. We also can look at this as higher self, lower self, right brain, left brain, feminine energy, masculine energy, yin, yang. Okay, so you can look at this in a different dynamics, but it's taking you back to nature to get an example. So for a funky little, that's what we call for your little funky little knees, giving a punishment, which is a hormone by giving us your birthday, which is your manufacturing date. That's all we giving out. That's all we selling, if anything. Outside of that, you're getting a fulfillment of education on what it takes and requires for you to understand nature. Back to nature. Everybody told us about getting back to nature, getting back to nature. What did that look like? How does that feel like? Rob the bank with a pacifier, what are you replacing that with? Okay, so if you're telling me that this healthcare system ain't good enough, which we do have we've done our due diligence to see that it ain't as good as it can be, then what is the alternative? Well, the alternative is tradition, right? And so we call the traditional stuff alternative, but really It should be the primary. Your primary care should be in nature. Your primary care should be in nature and should be of nature. Your primary physician should be, in order for you to create balance back into an imbalanced body. Imbalance means disease. In order for you to be able to get a body back balance, your primary care physician must first be nature. You must go back to nature. You must go back to the organic. You must go back to living life in order for you to get any kind of life in you to be able to reverse any kind of thing you're dealing with. That's the first lesson. That's the first lesson. Right? So, and another thing that's different from us to choose. And I want y'all to so you guys want to go watch me on YouTube? We are live on YouTube as well. We will start and continue to keep doing those things on YouTube as well. So all of you guys, I encourage all of you to go over there and follow us on YouTube, all right? But just by a birthday, we can get your manufacturing date, right? Every has a manufacturing date, a model number, and so forth and so on, right? So what this does is it's creating the same atmosphere. Give me your birth date, then let's start to ask Mama Nature what it is that's designed to get you back into balance. Now, a lot of you guys like to come just for the physical, but this is also a spiritual mission as well, right? And then we're able to tell you what seasons you're in. We're able to tell you and your destination, which is basically a life compass. All of this is in your owner's manual for me, so funky 50. If you're interested, y'all whatever you got to do, but you get your hands on your own owner's manual. Now, what does an owner's manual stand for? You can go Google it, you can go research it. An owner's manual serves as a guide for the technician, who could be yourself or somebody else, right? Because if you look at your technician, right? So a doctor, a chiropractor, whoever you're going to, they're the service technician to that piece of equipment, which you call your body and your mind, though. Because the spiritual and physical things. See, about church is no service technician to the spirit, but about the body. So yeah, they can get you encouraged, but you still got high blood pressure. You walked in with high blood pressure, you left out with high blood pressure. You walked in with diabetes, you left out with diabetes. You walked in with arthritis, you left out with arthritis. Now you might have been feeling good while you was in there, but you still got the same physical conditions because they're concentrating on one aspect of you instead of the total you. Now it's flip flop when you go to the doctor's office. They're working on the physical you, so when you go in there with high blood pressure, you might come out without it, but you still got the addiction that created the habits that created the high blood pressure. You still got the ignorance that created the high blood pressure. You see what I'm saying? So if that's a dependency then on what? If I don't tell you about another aspect of you, then now you just become an addict on me. If I don't curb your addictions, then I just jump in the line of your addiction and on to your addiction. I'm just every month, every week, you can make me a bill if you want to. You want to pay me every month, you can make me a bill. I'll be happy and obliged to be a bill in your life if that's what you want. What we try to do from the HerbMan show is fish. Teaching you how to fish is teaching you how to take care of yourself. Now tell me how many people over there that are watching right now don't mind taking care of themselves. Wish and hope that there was something out there that is very much to the point of how I can take care of myself. Maybe I've been misled by this and misled by that, and now I'm really trying to figure out how does taking care of self look. And if you were one of those people who came to Christ, here we teach you how to fish. And the owner's manual is about the biggest thing that I can give you that's going to put you back into alignment, not only with yourself, but with nature. So, is there a product? Maybe no, not one thing, but there is a program that is out here that is designed by nature to get you back into effect. Right? And we don't miss anything. Okay, so even when we're talking about your chakras, we're talking about the endocrine system, right? So we understand that the endocrine system, the adrenals is the root chakra. And we also understand that the pineal is how to balance out your sleep period to your wake cycle. Your sleep to your wake cycle has been the real misnomer along with balancing your diet of thinking and feeling, which is why we put this up here, right? So nobody's ever taught you about how to diet with your thinking and feeling, because diet means limitation. When you're on the diet, everybody's on the diet no matter what it is, because you don't have a full spectrum diet. Nobody has a full spectrum diet. So if you're in a climate that has temperature, which is a full spectrum climate, which can be hot, cold, wet, and dry. So if you having hot months, cold months, dry months, and wet months, that is considered a full spectrum ecosystem. Some people only got hot and dry, but there are things that want to live in that area. People got cold and wet, but there are things that want to live in that area, aka Antarctica. Okay, hot and dry, aka in, right. So you have these two particular climate zones, right? So you would call the hot, that an arid climate, right? Or the dry you would call arid, right? So now you got this cold and polar climate, or polar climatic system, which is that cold and wet, right? So you got these dynamics, but now you're living in a temperate climate called America, right? So now these things got four different types of climatic things, but you're eating one tractor. You're limited. So when you're in a full spectrum climatic thing, you must know how to change per season. So when we teach you about the dynamic cyclical understanding of nature, you guys, please follow me. Keep tapping the screen and I'll keep talking. I want y'all to catch me. Okay? That's why we're telling you about teaching you about yourself. You cannot heal yourself if you do not know thyself. So when you bring your attention to this particular channel, know that the man is trying to teach you about how your body works in order for you. It's just like school. This is the school of you. This is the book of you. It's called the owner's manual. But in the spiritual class, it's called the book of you. You are here. This is the HerbMan show. We actually are teaching you about you and how your biology is, how your psychology is, and how you balance it in order to reach a longevity that has been sold to you for years and years and years. But you say you have this belief system in an all-powerful, almighty, everlasting God, but then you say you are God to emulate that image, but you perish. There is no God on the planet that you've heard of that is that was mortal. So how do we reach immortality? So you've been looking at Superman and Batman and Spider-Man, and you've been looking at all of these mans, and even Jesus the man, but they don't die. But now when you come across the literature, you're reading about a spirit that you can't see within yourself. So my point to you is that you're saying you believe in something and you're calling yourself a God from a God, claiming that you are in the image of God, but God don't die, but you do. Now, is that just a figure of your imagination that there is a God, or that is a figment of your imagination that you're made in the image of God, or is it just in the figment of your ignorance that you don't know how to tap into the God in you? So as long as there exists perishing in your particular parameter, then you're not yet educated enough to understand how to really actually heal yourself and resurrect your health, rebirth, relearn to learn, re-educate. It's a form of renewing of your mind. So as an educator, what I must do is teach you about biology, the biochemistry of your body. Then I must teach you about how the herbs will come in and, and supplement certain things in you. Then I must teach you about how the light colors of the fruits and vegetables. You can go in there and just start shopping. You ain't got to know what's all in it, what's all this. Shop by color. Again, let me show you something real quick. Y'all keep tapping that thing. Matter of fact, before I go into shopping by color, let's get something to 50K. We're trying to get to 100,000. Y'all know how we do it. I don't play no games, okay? I don't play no games. We're going to teach you about how to shop by color and understand that you're getting what you need like that. And there are the colors and there are the things that come into the light spectrum that you can visibly see. And then there's the light that you can't see, but it's still there. And this is just like this information. This is information that you haven't heard that you might not have came across that you were interested in. But just because you might not think that it don't work, or just because you might think that it's not real, or just because you might think that all hope is gone, doesn't mean that that's true. Again, you got light you can see, and you got light that you can see. Beyond the infrared, going back to black. Beyond the ultraviolet, it goes back to black. That is still light. Dark is a light. Dark is a light. And so you must understand how to get what you can get out of the light. We're supposed to be absorbing these things from the light, but the light, we can absorb that in a million different ways. Yes, you can see the light, but again, you can see the colors that you need based on looking at the colors of nature. So green has always been anonymous with what? The grief and the depression. Right? So now we're talking spiritual, the grief and the depression. But now we're talking about your heart, love. It's always been synonymous with green. But also from a disease standpoint, if you're dealing with autoimmune disease, if you're dealing with immune system issues, meaning that any kind of cancers, any kind of virus, funguses, anything that has an infection to you, or has infected you, or has to your immune system, and your immune system provided, that's what we're talking about. So autoimmune, immune system, that's allergies, that's all of that. Because you wouldn't have sinuses if you had a good immune system. Okay, so let's get this all understood. So now you got all these different things that are affecting your immune system. Then you don't understand is what you need. Okay, respiratory issue, asthmatic issue, okay, COPD, and all these types of things. The color green. Now we know that the color green got what in it? Chlorophyll. Now go look up more benefits of that, and you will see that's what they all do things, right? On the color red, the root, right? On the color red is not synonymous just with the you're gonna forget about that. It's synonymous with the adrenaline. It's synonymous with cayenne pepper, red. Take it for what? Hawthorn berry, red. You take it for what? Arjuna bark, red. Take it for what? This red. You take it for what? High blood pressure, heart health, the reds, the yellow, for any kind of reproductive issue, as well as digestion. The yellows and the oranges are going to be for your fluids. Okay, going to be mostly for your fluids. So if you're having issues with your fluid system, which is the digestive system, the blood. Okay, these red, these yellows, and these orange colors are going to be very good for high blood pressure and diabetes and all this fiber thing that you're missing. And we ain't even got on the blues and the purple, which are going to be your high conscious issues, right? Your brain, your nervous system issues. Okay, these are your blues and your purples. Okay, and they're going to have things that are going to be good and synonymous with helping you out when you have a nervous system condition, slowing down the nervous system, helping out with the communication between the nervous system. Did you not know that when you have a organ in your body that don't work at all? You got the organ, but it just no communication going on. That's a nervous system issue. So you must put in herbs in there to stimulate that nervous system to bring signaling back to that organ. So a organ that don't work needs more purple. It needs more blue as well as the herbs. Now, what are the herbs that'll give you something synonymous with kicking up that? Well, we know here that this is a fire and water condition. I'm gonna give you, yeah, I'm gonna give you that there's a fire and water condition. For the fire, I'm gonna give you some water, and for the water, I'm gonna give you some fire. And this opposites type of connection that nature always worked with in order for us to produce something. If you're looking at the Bible, the Quran, and you're looking at the Torah, and all these different Kabbalistic texts and all these stuff, it is all reproductive based story about how other earths birth, rebirth, and how the new birth, and how the immaculate conception. And all of these references are about reproduction. And so we're using this opposite track in order for you to understand the value of connectivity between the opposites and how the reproductive power is there. So now what we're giving you in your owner's manual is this chemistry, but don't nobody know about it. You just caught that. I just gave you the secret. I gave you the secret to why this works. If y'all just caught that. If y'all just caught what I just said, I gave you the secret. There's a secret in opposition that creates a reproductive. Therefore, in order to create an instance, it's the same thing going on in your mind. In your mind, you have the right hemisphere, the left hemisphere of the brain. And that creates a friction, an opposition friction that creates the duality composition that makes the one thought. And so masculine energy is irritating or agitating or having friction. And all friction ain't got to be bad, right? And this agitation, this thing starts to create the space. The baby is the thought. Okay, the baby is the thought. The baby is the creative idea. The baby is the thought. Okay, thought is the baby between the friction of masculine and feminine energy, left and right. So it's an essence talking about not only the constellation and how it birthed this particular paradigm that we call the universe. At the same time, we're taking that same lesson and we're putting it into every aspect of our life. So that if you want to reproduce health, somebody, come on now, somebody. If you wanted to try to reproduce your health or reproduce good health, a good cell, then you get a good cell from a good cell. The reason why sickle cell people continue to have sickle cell, the reason why cancer continue to reap your body, the reason why you continue to keep having herpes, the reason why you continue to keep having AIDS is because you're producing those cells and you're not producing them. Did you not know that if you produce 50% good cells, 59% bad, you're under. Come on, somebody. Did y'all not know that? Did you not know that if you can get with some herbalist, somebody that can teach you how to build up at least 50% of your T cells and B cells over the enemy, over the enemy, you will. How do I create new cells, new eye cells? I can see new organ cells so that it can jump back online and regenerate. New stem cells so that my bones can stay strong. See, you got to walk up into 120. You can't be going through that bad over. You can't get that with no cane. You can't get with 120 with AIDS and HIV and asthmatic issues and allergic issues and autism. You won't know where you're going, dementia and glaucoma, cataracts. You can't see where you're going, right? You can't go through the arthritis to your knees. And if this is the goal, then you must have some teacher that can teach you this. And my theory is, and this is my theory only, is that once we're able to solidify that we have a diabolical founded program that can really literally get us into 120, walking into 120 as a standard instead of 65 and 75, then now we also may have the answer to longevity in this particular paradigm. Because all of the elements that I'm teaching you from nature do not die. The sun doesn't die. So when we get in that the ecliptic of the sun and we're following this path, we're following the path of an everlasting. The water has never ceased. The earth has never stopped incubating. Right? And so now we understand that okay, so sun has everlasting air, has everlasting water, earth has everlasting water, carry everlasting qualities. And so if we're looking at everlasting, going back to what you say you are believing in, then there must be something that we must not forget, that we're not remembering. We don't forgot way more than we can ever discover. So we want to rediscover, which is just the same thing as what this is. healing system on the planet. You can't get no older than that. But what we're trying to do is educate you guys on the programming that is going to take in order to reach this everlasting concept. Because it is not a physical race that you can run completely, and we know that. So what we're trying to do is introduce this understanding of the power of the spiritual side of this equation that must be included in this everlasting journey. So now when you understand that, you will see that you can't understand a spiritual thing that's going on in a carnal mind. And that's the first thing we got to do is wake you up from that misnomer. Is that you cannot really fully grasp this spiritual experience being in a fully carnal aspect, which is your lower self. Okay? And all you're going through in the paradigm is the lower self, but it's a higher self situation. So hell yeah, you're gonna fail the test. If it's a spiritual test and you in your physical, then you're gonna fail. You're not equipped. Out of your ignorance, you see what I'm saying now? So what we're trying to is get you to understand that yes, your body can rejuvenate. That ain't that ain't new, but you got to know how to do that. But that information ain't just reserved to a Marty Scott. These are healers, but it wasn't just for them. You can get this information as well. All you need to know about is how to heal yourself. Let everybody else learn what they need to learn about that, and then you don't have to worry about nobody but yourself. And the owner's manual will do that for a funky music dollar. It will put you back into control of your health. You can be now more of an advocate for that information as well. You can be more prepared for the storms of life. Look, we can't stop storms from happening. It ain't no way the Doppler radar can stop that tornado, but it can tell you about it. There's no way that the Doppler radar can stop the earthquake, but it can tell you about it. So you consider me to be the Doppler radar, the messenger. And sometimes being power revealed can be more massive for itself. Sometimes Jonah and Jeremiah and Ezekiel and Isaiah and Elijah and John the Baptist can be just more as rewarding as anything else. So what we're trying to do is get you to understand that these people or whatever people, I'm calling ourselves. Ourselves don't give a damn about the other part of us. So therefore we can damage ourselves and an exclusive rate. Now I want to get you to this. Keep tapping the screen. You guys, let's go. Let's keep tapping. You keep tapping, I'll keep talking. All right. Yeah, if you guys are interested in the owner's manual, just please DM me. We'll get you done. All right. Any questions, put them into the comment section. We'll get to you. If you guys want to come up on the live, obviously you can. So this is what I was trying to find. Because sentence is a evil work, I guess, expediently. Therefore, the heart of the sons of man is fully set. You gotta listen to look at what they're talking about. Because the sentence against an evil work is not executed. Because you're not getting sick right out you finish that, then you get what okay, you go over that. Because you're not dropping down dead right after that hot one, lemon pepper, still. And just because you're not dropping down dead right after that Newport or that Jim Beam. You keep on, and just because you ain't dropped dead right after that bad decision you made sexually or this, that, and the third, you keep on playing with it, and so what's happening to you is that you doing this to you because see, nature ain't as expedient as man. I see man, but nature will let you live. You could be all kind of is. A murderess, rapist, or molest this and everything. If you let nature do it, you'll still live until your time is up. But see, man result gonna come out and you goddamn like 20 to 40, I'm coming to get you. 20 to 40, we're gonna put chemicals in you, we're gonna get you. And so because thing, so we don't learn patience. And because we don't learn patience, then we become a patient. Because not learning patience and a whole slew of things will knock off the nervous system. First of all, keep it sympathetic. And also understand because of that now, you're down in your root chakra, surviving a world where it's plentiful, but it got you in the rat race. It's plentiful out here, you guys. There's no reason for us to be stressed. Enough of this land out here and enough of this fruits and vegetables that we need for us to be hungry or stressed out. Most of this education that we got out here, there's no need for us not to skill. There's no reason for you to skill. At point in time, you want to build some clothes. That's cool. So with your clothes building money, you already did. So you want to build on some cars instead of build some free water situation. Okay, this you'll have a water bill. You might can pay. You see how you swap it for skill. It's two big check. Like that one big check. There's a lot of reasons why y'all can't go into business for yourself because you've been lulled to sleep with dependency, and you've been lulled to sleep with this expedient behavior of no rules and law. Said exchange. They said they're gonna pay me everything for my energy exchange. Okay, and so that's what gets you. Your little thing you doing is a little bit more expedient than nature. Okay, well, guess what? It's more expedient and it's more expedient if you don't know how to break this. Keep on the screen, you guys. Let's get homie HerbMan. One thing I ain't gonna do is play with you when I come up on it. I can't play with you. One thing I won't do is play with you. So this is about the lower self. It's not about evil. It's about because things are so expedient down here in the lower self that trying to depend on nature, trying to depend on God, it takes too much. So then how go do it? Yeah, y'all don't want to hear it, but we're gonna hear it. We're gonna hear it to you. I'm gonna whoop you in the spirit. You gotta get whooped in the spirit. And this ain't just for this ain't just for Jewish. This ain't just for the Islamic brothers and sisters. This is for the atheists. This is for the traditionalists. We need to learn more about how to wait on nature. And if we can grow patience, and we can grow virtue, and we can grow dynamics, and if we can grow what they call that? What they call that? If we can grow some balancing act in this thing, we'll be all right. Let me get this up out here. So everybody get that. Let me blow that up one more time for the new folk that just came in. Right? Because sentence against an evil work, I call it lower self. Because sentence against an lower self act is not executed expediently. You're not getting punished right off the bat for what you do in your lower self because it wants you to continue to keep coming back for more. Therefore, the heart of the man that's in the lower self is fully set. You see how they put the sun in the set? You see how they put the sun and the set? Now watch this. I'm going to show y'all something. This is an old Egyptian thing I'm going to show you. This is some old Egyptian stuff I'm finna show you. So in Egyptians' understanding, the sun, the sun will rise on the east. The east, y'all that don't know, will be representation of your right brain. Your right brain. Because every time you face north, the east will be on. If y'all just know where the north is at in your house, face north, and then ask yourself where's the east side. If you face north, true north, east will always be on your right side. Okay? It would always be on your right side. You get this? So right now, looking at me, this is east. Right here, this is east. This is west. Now look at this. The Egyptians said that the sun would rise on the east, right? So it rises on the east and sets on the west. Okay? Now, in Egyptians understood that they didn't call it resting place. It wasn't with the R, it was with the W. So that when you passed away, they say, yeah, that person has just wested away. They are wested. They went to the west side. Okay. And the west side is going to be the sun. And the east side is going to be the set. And let me repeat that, but I'm going to show y'all something. The sun will represent the west. Right? I mean, the east, and the set will represent the west. The sun represents the east. So the sun is actually the feminine, and the set is representing the west. The west is actually the masculine. Now watch this. So when you hear sun, you gotta know what you're looking at. And this is how you start breaking down the Bible and understand parables. Because none of this is true. Because sentence against an lawful work is not executed speedily or expedient. Therefore, the heart of the son of men. So if you're a son of a man, that means you're also the son of a woman. So the sons of men is fully set them to do evil. So now what they're saying is that you will know yourself because you went from over here east to the west, from the feminine to the masculine. So therefore, if you're in your lower self, the heart of the sons of man is fully set. You don't come out of it. You're fully set in the westing, the masculine energy. So we should be steam. Okay, we should be easting. That's my fault. You know, I'm teaching on YouTube as well, man. So that's all I was looking at. All right. So again, this is the Western. So when they talk about that sun set, that's what they're saying that the sun is set. Okay? So just because you're not getting punished expediently for that fried chicken addiction, for that workaholic addiction, for that sex addiction, just because you're not getting punished expediently for working your butt off all day and all night and not getting no rest. Okay, just because you're not getting, there's no expedient ramifications for these doing some actions. You get stuck down here and you get stuck in the western place. Your heart got set in the wrong place because you forgot the journey. You're on YouTube right now, man. You know, I've always been on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com /C /HerbMan. YouTube.com /C /HerbMan. Okay? Y'all can follow me there. So, any questions thus far? Any questions thus far? Grand Rising, all the people on YouTube. Appreciate you guys for coming in, man. We're live from South Africa. So appreciate you for coming in, man. We're gonna continue to keep busting you guys inside of here with this hot mango, right? And in a minute here, you guys will start saying some herbs and everything like that. But we ain't gonna stop just teaching. And what I gotta be able to do is educate you on how to heal yourself. Remember that little funky this bonus manual is the best thing that you can do in order to prepare for the storms of life. Because it's a tracker system, it's also a dietary system, it's also a healing system. It's also going to tell you about activities, foods, herbs, everything that to heal yourself and it's going to give you more insight as to the other side of you. What we call that, your alter ego. Because everybody got two sons, two sides. But we don't a lot of women don't know the feminine side of them because they're in the masculine world. And a lot of men don't know the feminine side of them because they're in the masculine world. So you have this mixed up and I'm trying to get you to understand that within that feminine energy is your sleep. Within that feminine energy is your rest. Within that feminine energy is your relaxation. But more importantly, within that feminine energy is your healing. And feminine energy ain't nothing but the parasympathetic nervous system. It's nothing but the healing or the rejuvenation process of you. It's nothing but the creative side. So when we're talking about how do I create good cells, then you must know how to tap into the feminine energy within you. That's the nurturing ability, the healing ability, the reactivation, the rejuvenation ability within the body must be understood under the guise of rest, relaxation, and sleep. And we don't do those two because from a busy day trying to get some sleep and the brain's still going. You got to wind down not only the body, but the winding down of the mind. And TV don't wind down the mind. Okay? Living check to check won't wind down the mind. Having that stage 5 diagnosis won't wind down the mind. Having a relationship with one line, okay? And one good person that I do follow is very funny. And what he said, he tells you off the rip. If you can't concentrate, and you can't meditate, then you can't stop the imbalance going on in the mind. You can't get to that extra plane. You can't heal yourself. You can't because the power lies in the mind. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And if you can't concentrate, then you can't meditate. And if you can't meditate, then you can't create the way that you're trying to stimulate, trying to procreate and get that information. We know how you get, but how do you procreate good, healthy cells that can keep us here for as long as we want to be? Because once we get that procreation, then also we get that from nature. We learn it from nature, but we can give it back to nature to facilitate an everlasting life. You have an everlasting nature, yielding fruits and vegetables and organic. Now, this is it. Conservation, we understand procreation of your body, and not only do we procreate our own cells to heal and live longer, but now we can also do it to nature to facilitate these long lives. But if we're in the rat race and everybody trying to get a crab in the barrel effect, then yeah, you're gonna leave here early. And the person that's holding your spatula got to either be you or me, and you don't even know. They are not saying one less motherfucker I got to worry about because they trusted me. If it's got to be you or me, and you trusted me, then if it's got to be you or me, and you got to trust me, it's gonna be you. So the more you get out, you also start to alleviate the disasters that happen in that ignorance. They don't want me to teach that, but that's what we got to do. Okay. So now you're looking at colors. We know that the adrenals are red. The gonads stand for the yellow and the oranges, right? This is what we talk about the pumpkin. We're talking about the ham, right? The sweet potato, the butternut squash, the yellow squash, right? The banana, okay? And all different things good for these areas here. And you can even go more tropical than just those fruits that I talked about, but still look at the colors, the star fruit. What do you think a star fruit would be? It's yellow color. It'll help your reproductive system. I just gave y'all a nugget right then if you're looking for some reproductive health. The yellows and the people that doing something black. But that little stuff y'all doing in the black top. But then when they tell you about that little honey they were going into the gas station getting, you don't know why. Look at the color. I gave you a secret just then. Bee pollen and bee pulpers, something that is about reproduction and get you where you can be fertilized. Okay? All the stuff that you don't understand that you should be understanding. All the things that you don't understand that you should be understanding. Y'all get where we're going? Do I got my YouTubers on here? What's going on YouTube? How y'all doing? If you got any questions, please put them in the comment section. All right. Go tell somebody your homie HerbMan is on. There are plenty of people getting their own as well. Okay, you guys can still get in contact with me. All you have to do is save my contact and download WhatsApp. I'm still going to be able to contact you. We'll walk you through what you're seeing with this. Okay, if you are interested, please DM me. We'll get you all the information necessary. You can also go to the website. Just type in email and get your consultation email. We're also doing a perfect match for you guys out there that are dating, that are single, or just want to know more about your mate or how to fix your marriage and repair your marriage, or even just have that as a blueprint. And maybe to do this, it'll be very good for you. That's also on there. And that's for 25 bucks. All right. So that's what we're doing, man. And we do this all by simply giving us the simplest information on the planet, which is your birthday. We don't need a hair sample. We don't need a blood type. We don't need a blood sample. We don't need a urine sample. We don't need a stool sample. We don't need a culture, live culture from your look. We don't need none of that. All we need is a birthday to get you back well on your way to happiness, wholeness, and wellness. All right. So again, now we're climbing on up. Now we talked about the greens, chlorophyll being good for your immune system. Okay. Now you got the thyroid. So these are your blues. All right. So we start getting to the blues and purples. Now we're talking about thyroid, metabolism issues. Okay. You got weight issues. You may want to start looking at more of the blue foods. You got nervous system issues, eye issues, those types of things as well. Remember that if you got something that's not working properly, we gotta start looking at the connection, right? And then we look at the blood flow, right? So we gotta look for transportation, which is the blood, transportation, the endocrine system, and putting things into the transportation system, which can make that spread because it's putting it in the blood. So your feelings is one of the most highly sought out things that are going to be needed to be dietary. So when we're telling you about the limiting of your thoughts and feelings in this paradigm, we're trying to get you to understand that if you get invested into every little thing that these seven examples of these seven stages of life will give you, and you don't know the art of balance or the art of being in the you're not too attached to any one or two things in this paradigm, then guess what? You roll through here with a lot less baggage. You need a lot less baggage to go up a mountain, okay? But you got to watch out too because you ask to roll down this hill, right? So we know that it's all about effort. Right? It's all about effort. It's all about safety and rules. Okay, you got to go and develop safety coming up in the first place. But when going down, this is a lot less effort that's needed, but you're a lot more responsible with what you're doing. So we see all of this in a nutshell just by a measly birthday that we call your manufacturer. Okay? And you climbing up this thing, you set up in the food, look like that home, look like that. This is the endocrine system. So all of these glands giving out different diseases, giving out different spirits, but it's all one system, feelings. And it's how you're feeling about yourself out of the ignorance of knowing thyself that's causing you problems, and that's why you're hurting yourself via the spoon and the compensatory system that we live in that we call capitalism. we're hurting ourselves under this particular dynamic, causing stress on the body and the minds of the human population. And because the human population is under this, is peasants and kings, is queens and princesses, and is just the other folk, is Jews and is Gentiles, then what happens is we created classism. And that division of humanity is why you can't fix what you started. Hell, you the one who did it. So why you can't change it? We like to figure out if something did it to us, but we did this to ourselves. We created a paradigm. And I'll tell you the truth about why we did it. Because we were afraid to say that we didn't know. We came to a point of being afraid to say, and so because of that, now self-reliance has taken over, right? You start relying on yourself, meaning you start relying on the human species, and you no longer are looking for example of nature. The dog gets sick, it goes out and find grass. When a gorilla gets sick, it stops eating the fruit for a minute, and it goes and finds great plants to eat. That is a natural thing that they didn't read a book to know. So you know how to control the behavior. Yes, we know that we in heaven and we know that we in a mall full of shit. You know, you wake up in the mall and they tell you that everything in here is yours. You don't get greedy. That's why you gotta self-control. See right here? Self-control, the pancreas. Yes, you don't get greedy. So you gotta learn self-control. Yes, you're gonna get gluttonous. So you gotta learn self-control. And because of that, you're gonna get some grief and depression. You're gonna go through some doubt and trust issues. You're gonna go through some attachment issues. You're gonna have some delusion and loneliness, thoughts and feelings. You're gonna have some not forgive you. You're gonna have some stress. You're gonna come to then going to milk away these glands, putting all those chemicals into your blood, spreading it around, causing cancer because y'all don't know that really the true essence of cancer is coming from stress hormones giving out signals, which are what we call endocrine disruptors. So your endocrine system has been disrupted. This chemical plant has been invaded, but lifestyle is producing most of this construct. So your lifestyle is just hijack your chemical plant. It's spewing a whole lot of growth factors in your bloodstream, and you ain't even ate nothing yet. But the mere fact of worry and anxiety and stress and depression and all of these feelings can put on you way before you ate anything. And I can still kill you. Still not live to be 120 all by thinking and feeling way before eating and drinking. Okay? Everybody get that, right? Everybody get that, right? So the essence of what we're saying here then is to understand that balance, understand that dynamic. Keep that in the forefront of your mind. Keep coming to the HerbMan show. If you can't do nothing else, if you ain't got that little funky measly $50 to get your honest man, fine. Keep coming and you'll learn it over time. A lot of people are already getting it right now. If you do have that funky measly little $50, then go get yours and then understand it with you. The biggest thing is for you to get it to understand you better. And the more you know about your nature, the more you understand nature itself, the better inclined it's going to be for you to take not just only look. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm gonna tell y'all something right now, and then I'll stop about an hour in. All right, so keep tapping that screen, you guys. The science that I'm giving you is not only to procreate cells in your body that can heal you, or not only for you to live everlasting or 120 years old, but this is also for you to live in abundance. So if you are out there, you know, the biggest thing about a woman and a man is trying to get some money. You know, you're up under this capitalism, you're trying to figure out how can I get to this bag. I'm teaching you that too, but you can't see it. How many of you understand that what I'm teaching you right now is not just reproduction of health? This ain't just about growing up an apple tree. Once you learn how to grow an apple tree, can you grow any tree? So once you understand the science of reproduction, once somebody teach you the science of regeneration, come on, somebody. See, once somebody teach you the science of gardening and growing, is that not excluded to your pockets too? No, it's inclusive. Once we teach you the science of regrowth, you can now use this for your health, and you can use this for your wealth. I'm always be teaching it from a health standpoint because health encompasses all things on this planet. So the health of your consciousness is just as important as the health of your physical body. Stop going to people that only want to heal you one way. If the Reiki healer can't give you no herbs and stuff like that, then they're still not yet ready to put their hands on it. If a pastor can't give you no herbs, they're not ready. If a doctor can't give you no word, they're not ready. They have degrees of knowledge. A degree is a measurement. And it said, what degree will also mean at what measurement of understanding do you have? But I was told that a 360-degree perspective. Y'all see how they see? Y'all see this? 360 degree. A whole life insurance. Yes, sir. Somebody gonna tell us they said a whole life insurance is what is needed. For your funky media, look $50. That's what we do. That's what we provide. Education on teaching you how to fish, that you never have to stand in line for the things that you need again. Okay. All right. Any questions? Any questions thus far? So I said, what? What's the visit if you can't meditate? Yeah, man. That's it. If you can't concentrate, you can't meditate. And if you can't meditate, you can't levitate. Okay. And if you can't levitate, that's all this means. Okay. When you see Buddha sitting in this position, where his root was touching the earth, the root chakra was touching the earth. Okay. Now the adrenals, this right here means stress and instability. So you'll find a lot of people with high blood pressure have stress and instability in their life. So if you live in check to check, okay, because that's unstable. That's living check to check is instability. If you're working all times of the day, that's instability because you're imbalanced between place. So you're imbalanced and you're unstable. So that's why you got to drink coffee and do all this stuff because your ass is unstable. Instability. Okay. Now what happens is doing all of that running around, going from Peter to pay Paul and Paul to pay Peter, and you're never really situated because you're unstable and so you're just all over the place, will cause physical ramifications of that spiritual lostness, that spiritual codependency, that survival mode mentality will cause you an issue in your bones. See, because instability in life can start to rear its head in the instability of your particular body, which is your skeletal system. Also, it is your blood. So Buddha sitting in there, it would let him know that he was stable in his understanding of the earth. So he stabilized that root chakra by sitting Indian style in the way he was a symbolic symbolism to stability, contentment, whole life assurance. All right. And then he drew that energy on up. Okay. He drew it on up through these pathways of all of these different emotions. And then got to the last one and said attachment issues, and then he just let them go. The attachment issues is the way we let them go. We let what go, man? Our wants, our needs, and our desires, we start to now let them go to where they're not so weighty. And now we can climb mountains at 70, 80, and 90 years old instead of letting that time in our life take us away from Him. Now we can go through valleys in our youth that you may think that it takes endurance and stamina to do, but as a youth, you can make it through if only you knew. So it is this education, it is this thing that we're bringing to the planet to say that the more we start to get back in tune with what nature says about us and the understanding of nature's examples, we not only tap into the growth of the human race, but also we can tap into the growth of the human of the earth space, right? And we can go back into now taking the science of everlasting life. See, that's what y'all don't get what I'm trying to get you to see. The science of procreation, of everlasting. Is a guaranteed thing that you can tap into where you can always renew your skin, renew your brain cells, renew your skin cells, renew your lung cells and your blood cells, renew your bone cells, renew I mean just every single thing. Once we get this science down, that can be that. And then I'm gonna take it to the plant kingdom and say, okay, well, what does the plants need? And they're one chromosome away from being us. So now we have this design to where we can facilitate each other's growth, and now you'll be more dependent on nature instead of yourself. Out of your ignorance of nature is why we're ignorant. Okay, so a 360-degree parameter look at who you are, what you do. Nobody knows you better than mama. Right? Nobody knows. Peace of wellness, Clay. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Thank you guys for the YouTube love as well, man. Please, you guys go on over there and follow us on YouTube just in case something happens to the TikTok, man. We'll still be over there. We'll still be grooving. We'll still be doing our thing. Again, you guys, I'm your homie HerbMan. I'm your neighborhood holistic practitioner. All right, we've been doing this thing now for an hour or so. We got about another hour to go. Keep tapping that screen. Let's get us up to 100K. Again, all of you guys that are here, please go to the YouTube channel and please subscribe and let's keep this thing going. Coming live from South Africa, man. Over here, we're loving the opportunity, loving the fruits and vegetables, doing everything, you know, eating the vegan lifestyle, everything that we need to do to make sure that we're maintaining a high sense of energy while we're over here. Now, there's going to be life things that come about. It's going to be things that happen this, that, and the third to try to take you off track. But what you got to understand is that God always got your back. Nature always got your back. If you're doing things in time, in season, you'll be okay. And you can live with those odds, okay? So if you got stage 5 dialysis, if you got stage 4 or 5 cancer, if you're dealing with some of the most egregious diseases on the planet, please tell your people about the owner's manual so that you can first start with the rule of thumb of what it takes. Remember, I told you that the owner's manual serves as a guide, okay? To you, the technician, whoever that may be, yourself or anybody else, to give you what? 3 things, right? So that you can get the optimal performance out of you, the longevity out of you, and the usage necessary from you. And if I told you that you should be living 120 years standing upright, okay, then that means that there's so much that we don't know. Because to make it to this 120, there's some things that we just ain't learning or we forgot. And in my opinion, we forgot some things, okay? And now we're reiterating this particular piece to longevity is getting right back in tune with nature, aka the God that you feel like you serve, all right? And when you're reading these texts, please understand this is a spiritual thing for way before it is a physical thing. You can only have a disease, okay? Because the disease is really something that's very permeated, meaning that it's not permanent, but permeated, meaning that it's egregious to the body, where microscopically they can see things being taken over and something, you know, things being in the blood. That's normally when they're going to deem it to be a disease, right? So what I'm trying to say is to keep you from that right there. Look, sometimes your immune system is going to get invaded. But if it's working at optimal prime, then what happens is you'll be rewarded. Period. Right? There's always going to be a test because of this environment that we're living in. You're living around 8 billion people with all kinds of mutations, all kinds of things going on within the human construct. There's about 12 to 13 different models of human beings. That meaning that although you're a man, don't mean you just like every man, and although you're a woman, don't mean like you just like every woman. And this also helps you understand which model of a human mean you are as well. So if y'all don't know nothing about that, it's more synonymous with the life path number, but we call it your model. Okay. And we also tell you about the element that you're able to be able to manipulate. Some of us do well speaking to the sun, sunbathing, doing that, all that type of stuff, or doing our things around candles. Some of us we can do it just with what we smoke or incense or going outside and walking and talking to ourselves. Those are good habits, okay? Some of us we look around water, or we in the bathtub in the shower and we just start to talk and start to manifest that way. And so now you're seeing that these are your elements of manipulation. Okay. And some are just good with the earth element, right? You get them some money, or you get them some grounding sessions, or you get them some dirt, or some crystals, some stones. You get them some something like that, and they're gonna be able to use that or some paper, right? And right now, what they got going on, put it up under their bed or put it in a certain place, and because that paper is tree, they start to manifest. These are the element benders. You get that on your own. A lot of us don't know about our two sun signs because we're going to natal reading. They're only telling you about your sun sign, your rising sign, and your moon. But then they're telling you about Mercury and Jupiter and Mars and Neptune, Uranus and Venus and Pluto and Saturn and all these things, right? So they're giving you all those things, and which you're fine. I ain't got a problem with that. But if you don't know nothing about your two suns, then you're missing the whole paradigm anyway. And who had a natal reading that goddamn wrong about those other planets anyway back in the day? All you really needed to know is that when the sun is in Aries in the northern hemisphere, it's in Libra in the southern hemisphere. These are the two sides of you, the two sides of the sun. When the sun is up over here, it seems to get dark over here. And when the sun is getting light over here, it seems to get dark over there. It's the duality of the sun. It's the degree of measurement of the vantage point in which you see. But the sun never dies. The sun ain't never died. When you see his backside, somebody sees his backside. And the moon never died. When you see his back, his dark side. So at the end of the day, these things ain't going nowhere. These are examples we can take. Okay, so you get to understand your two sun signs. That every Aries has some Librian qualities. Every Taurus has some Scorpion qualities. Every Gemini has some Sagittarian qualities, and vice versa. So if you're not hearing your name being called, you are. Okay, I ain't skipping you, but I'm only gonna do six because the six do the 12. Every Aries has some Librian qualities. Every Libra got some Aries qualities. Every Taurus got some Scorpio qualities. Every Scorpion got some Taurian qualities. Every Gemini has Sagittarian qualities. Every Sagittarian has some Geminian qualities. Every single Cancer has some Capricornian qualities, and every Capricornian has some Cancerian qualities. Every single Leo has some Aquarian qualities, and every single Aquarius has some Leoan qualities. Every single Virgo has some Piscean qualities, and every single Pisces has some Virgoan qualities. But because you don't know that about yourself, you tap it into one or the other, neglecting the other, which will come back to bite you in this journey to everlasting life. And that is what you're talking about, um, the bruising of the heel, the birthright, right? The birthright. You took somebody's birthright, Esau, right? So you got this birthright swap because you don't understand the value of the other. Masculine energy in a patriarchal design, masculine energy is, yes, it can work in that because that's what you under. But just because you're in that doesn't mean you neglect the feminine energy in you, because masculine energy will wear you down physically, and that's why we die. You can be in a patriarchal system, but if you knew about opposites, which was what we're teaching you, the best rule of thumb to have in a patriarchal system is your matrilineal understanding, because that's going to help the patriarchal system. Instead of burning you out, you be building you up. In a physical system, in a masculine system, feminine energy is necessary. If you meet masculine energy with masculine energy, then you are bisexual. I mean, not bisexual. What they call that? Yeah, yeah. You ain't bisexual, you're ugly. I don't want to say it on him. But we're talking about via energy. So you same energies, you same sexing through energies. So no wonder the male and the female can't get together because you're opposite in sex, but you're the same in energy. And that won't work for a successful relationship. You're the opposite in species, but the same in energy. So being in a patriarchal design, being in a masculine energy will wear you down. It will wear the system down. It will wear down on the nervous system, aka your thinking. It will wear down on the chemical system, that's the system of the body, aka your endocrine system, putting stuff out into the blood. No wonder you don't know if you're male or female. No wonder if you don't know if you're coming and going. No wonder if you don't know the roles and responsibilities and duties on the planet. It's because you're not in your reproductive health to reproduce or create something. If an opposite is something, so if I go down there and get a water hose, I'm gonna need a male end to a female. You need two things to plug it into the bottle. The receptor is the female energy. The female end is the receptor. The feminine energy is the receiver. The male plug, the male end of it is the giver. So if we're under a patriarchal system of giving out instructions, giving out resources, giving out exchanges for energy flow, right? Then who's receiving? You giving. I'm talking about from a systematic standpoint. If the system is about giving out instructions, laws, processes, and paycheck and wages, then who's receiving? Because you are giving too. So the system is about giving, you're giving, then who's receiving? So now you're all awake, but nobody's asleep. And did you not know that you spend more time awake in your sleep as far as your proper way to see through a system or a spiritual world? You must get in tune with sleep first. Because the spiritual world you can't see with your two eyes. But you got more time awake using your two eyes, and you don't have no experience in your spiritual eye. So therefore, you can't navigate this particular spiritual experience the proper way without understanding the right way to do it. So Buddha sat his ass on the ground and jumped that thing on up and was able to now navigate the spiritual, the physical realm in the spiritual essence. And now you got a book about him in a religion. And Jesus was also a person that did the same thing. And then you got a book about him. And Muhammad was also a person that did the same thing. And then you heard about him. And then you got some of the other messages that were him that could do the same thing. And then you heard about them. But what about the least of us? Grandmama them, Kiki and little Bud them, Bow Bow, Bam Bam them, little Tunch, and Rico them from around the. Just what about Deshaun and Carisha? They living souls as well that still need to have some kind of understanding of how to heal themselves. So when you put your little herb products up to $1,000, who are you really looking to do something for? When you put your little information out there about consultations and make them hundreds and thousands of dollars, who the hell are you? When you charge people these $1,000 to come to your little guru session, who you think you is? Because little Rico them can't go to India. Grandma don't want to even leave their town or they city, but they still need this information. How do they get it? How do they get it? We're here for the least of us. Yeah, yeah, all of them, right? We got to keep these things for everybody. If you for everybody, you don't have to worry about ever being broke. Okay, you ain't got to worry about ever being broke because sometimes people have resources that equate way more than money. You ain't never got to worry about nothing if you for everybody. I want somebody to understand something out there. You never have to worry about money if you design something for everybody. The biggest trick on the planet is for the American dream. Because the American dream, they made it seem as though it is for everybody. It's a business model. And what happens is that the people who get finished and the people who get rolled over tend to want to do something for just themselves. That's no problem with that, but you'll never be able to compete with a system that is seemingly to be for everybody when you create yours is just for particular people. Then you're no threat to the system. You can create an alternative system to the capitalism that we got and still be for everybody. So when we're talking about rivaling healthcare and rivaling the world system, you have to have the equivalent. You can't take the pacifier without replacing it. And there's no better methodology than the owner's manual and going back to nature. All right. What we got? What we got? What we got? We got about 40 some minutes with you guys. Yes, sir, man. We hitting you upside the head. I already know. Correct and heal the meat. Uh-huh. Hey, we're almost at 100K likes, you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Keep tapping out, keep talking, you guys. All right. So what is it that y'all don't understand? What is it that you need more clarity on? Some people are coming here for physical information about herbs and stuff like that. I can help you with that. Some people are coming here about diseases or symptoms. We can help you with that. Some people are coming here about the spiritual awareness and trying to get to that next level in life. We can also help you with that. Just remember that every disease will tell me about where you're at in your life, and every place in your life can tell me about what diseases that you need to watch out for because everybody has things going on in their life. They might not think it's a problem until it becomes one. You never want to be too late. And the honest man will also help you prepare for those life changes. All right. Somebody said, what's up, what's up, what's up? Somebody said celiac disease here. Okay. Very simple, right? First, we need to go back to when you got diagnosed with that. So I would need a little bit more information because remember that we're trying to link this up to the spiritual thing as well. So that's why you guys need these consultations so that we can get that linkage. Remember, I'm trying to help all of you, not just the one side, right? So, but the celiac disease we know is a digestive issue. We also know it's a immunity issue, right? And so at the end of the day, now we got to look at those two places spiritually. I don't know when you got the diagnosis or if you were born with it or not, but we need to understand that. But just off of what you're telling me now, just considering the fact that you grew into it, you were born with it, you're looking at self-control. Okay? And we're also looking at grief and depression. Okay? Some sadness and some loss occurring in the life. Or it could be some self-control issues there that are spiritually now starting to rear their head in your body physically. Okay. Autoimmune is the same thing. Ready, the truth is going to be grief and depression. Something happened. You go back to the time that you before you got the diagnosis. Start looking at your thinking and your feeling right now. What's going on in your life? That can be primarily something that you can resolve. I want to tap into my abilities and powers. First, we got to understand where you're at, right? So tapping into your abilities and powers is first understanding what they are. When you get your owner's manual with your little birthday we do, that's your manufacturing day, right? And then it tells me what model of a person you are. When I get that model, then we can start understanding the element in which is going to be beneficial for you to manipulate. Okay. So in that manipulation of that particular element, now you can start helping yourself with your abilities and your powers. So let's say we say that your powers is the water. You start to utilize water to help you get up this ladder. We call it take a ladder. What if your element is earth? We start to utilize earth along with the other things in your life to do. And then next thing you know, that starts to not only allow you to be able to use your powers better, but also to understand them and then to grow and grow and grow until you become a professional bender at the elements. Okay. Gut health is also going to be about self-control issues, Eugene. Degenerated disc, lower back disease, and high blood pressure. Same thing. Anytime you got a degenerating disc, you got a nervous system issue. Okay, so we got to go toward the nervous system because the only thing that can help the degeneration is for we got to tell it to regenerate instead of degenerate. So now we know purple and blue foods are going to be on the table. We know what kind of herbs we're going to need because that's a fire condition. So I'm going to go with some water conditioned herbs. Right? So we're already starting to brew and pot of being able to see what program we're going to be needing in order to help change the communication within the body from degenerating this to regenerating the disc. It's a something going on in the computer chip, and that computer programming needs to be reprogrammed. So, like I came on here and told y'all before, there's not one product that can really do this. They lying to you to keep you coming back and back and back and back and back. I know people that spend thousands of dollars on stuff because people had to add coming back and back and back and back and back and back. Oh, this didn't work, that didn't work, so we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this, we got to do that. But if you get the program for measly, funky $50 on you, this is about your program. It ain't gonna be the same thing as the next person. So you can't follow that one program. You can't get it to your cousin unless y'all born on the same day. You can't get this program to your cousin. This is for you, the honest man. You can't go give this information over to your grandmama and say, "Grandmama, I did this." And maybe he gave me an instruction that was for you. Grandmama would need hers too. But you will have everything you need in the palm of your hand to get where you want to go. High blood pressure, all of that is telling me again, that root chakra, right? So we got here, so we know that's not the grip. We know the nervous system. So right here, you got the adrenals pumping. Okay, you got these adrenals pumping, which giving you high blood pressure, but that automatically tells me you stressed and unstable, right? And then with the degenerative disc talking about all that other stuff, we know that then you got to be looking at your sleep habits because you probably can't sleep because of the pain. The less you can sleep, rest, and the less you can eat. So that's why we will give you those herbs that will help you with the relaxation, help you with the sleep, help you try to get to where you need to be in order for you to do it. But it takes mineralization. You can't ask a herb, you can't ask the body to do nothing without giving it the energy to do it. You guys are doing detoxes, not even knowing that you need energy to detox. Well, they said do a detox first. That is true in the form of what you do on the paper, but there's certain shit you got to do before you do the test. Come on, y'all. Okay? You understand what I just said right there? Put some ones in the chat if y'all caught that. Okay? The detox is like when they say the number one thing you should do is the detox, and number two is number three. That is correct, but that's the test. What you did before the test? You can't come up and take this test. So that means that you have to have energy for a detox, energy to repair, energy. So nutrition is first. Nutrition is first in order for the action. Everybody get that? Nutrition first to do a detox. And the cells need three things. Anybody remember what the cells need? I give you a shout out. Let's keep tapping. Thank you guys for the 100K. We love you guys. Anybody know what the three things that the cells need? Explain that. Explain what? Which one? Hurry up, five. HerbMan, do you know about 13 zodiac? Yes, I know about it. Water, oxygen, and electricity. So water, oxygen, and glucose, right? Water, oxygen, and glucose. Okay? Water, oxygen, and glucose. So before I do a detox, you got to have the energy to do that. Water, oxygen, and glucose. Okay? That's cell food. Water, oxygen, and glucose. What was in these waters has to be minerals called the salts. What's in these oxygen, okay? Because the oxygen is going to help combustion break down the minerals to create the energy called ATP. Now, this is like a machine going. So once we give the information to the cell, now how do we do this? If you can't concentrate, you can't meditate. And if you can't meditate, you can't procreate. The healing that I'm teaching you, if you can't concentrate and focus the energy to that part, a particular part of your body, if you can't imagine your toes moving without them moving, then they won't move. If you can't imagine your arm moving without it moving, then it won't move. If you can't imagine, if you can't transfer energy, imaging. The root word of imagination is imaging. Same thing they do to you when you go to the hospital. They use these equipments for imaging. If you can't put an image on the energy on the body part to create the route for the communication to come through to that area, and the communicators are what? The messengers, the messaging systems is the nervous system and the endocrine system. I got to do it in thought and in feeling. If you can't concentrate, then you can't meditate. If you can't meditate, you can't procreate. You can't heal thyself. You can't elevate. You can't be enlightened if you can't focus. Without concentration, there is that you cannot have full meditation. And so what we learn how to do then is attachment issues got to be the first thing that you must understand that is the hardest thing to do. It must be the first thing that you understand is the hardest thing to do. If I tell you that you have to detach yourself from certain things in order to heal yourself, you'll see that this is the problem. You see what I'm saying? What's going on, you guys? What's going on? How y'all doing out there? Welcome, welcome, welcome to all of my new streamers out here on YouTube as well, man. We bust you guys upside the head with some of this hot banger boogie. If y'all got any questions, please feel free to holler at your homie HerbMan, all right? So that's what we're doing, you guys. Again, if you're interested in the owner's brand, please DM me. We'll get you all the information that you need, or you can go to the website at www.loveherman.com, type in email in the search engine, and go ahead and get whatever you're looking for from a consultation standpoint, all right? They said, "What live?" Yes, sir, man. We always trying to give good words, right? Because again, the whole thing about this is because this is a fast result for you. You get stuck. You can't get stuck, baby. You gotta keep this thing going. Can you heal yourself? The question of the day. The answer is yes. Yes, you can. So if you're dealing with no matter where you at on the planet, if you guys need this information, you can get it. Okay, you can get it. No matter where you at on the planet. What we got to stop doing is thinking that something is impossible or all the possibilities are within our paradigm. We just got to know what they are. We got to be able to get that. Okay. You guys on YouTube can hear me fairly good? Can you guys on YouTube hear me pretty good? Y'all can put some ones in the chat if you can. You say you got a question, go ahead, Felipe. What's your question? I never thought of the root chakra. I thinking it's the brain. What you mean by that question? Name some of the things people should detach from. Your wants, your needs, and your desires. You see what I'm saying? Your wants, needs, and your desires. Because that's what's keeping you in sympathetic. See, it's a God consciousness. Okay? Your God consciousness, because of this whole thing about you know it wasn't real, but you eating the fruit of the tree of good and evil, right? So you have the knowledge. You have a God-like ability to create, but you also got a decision. You can be the creator, or you can live under the creator. Okay, that's what we're doing here. That's what this is all about. This is an open symbology of a battle that happened. Now they use it from the Sirius star to the sun. The Sirius star was the mother nature of nature, the first sun goddess, right? That had a son, which is the sun that's in our particular galaxy. And that son wanted to take over the birthright. Okay, who was first? Adam or Eve? The chicken or the egg? You can't have no egg without no chicken. They ask you who was the first, the chicken or the egg. Got to be the chicken to have an egg because that egg got to come from somewhere first. So the Sirius star, or what you would call Sophia, had the sun, or AKA Jesus, or sometimes they call the sun Lucifer, right? The bright morning star. And Lucifer wanted to be the God and not just from God, from Mother God. All of this stuff. You ain't got to know it. I'm talking about the same thing. So the masculine energy in you is saying, look, I can procreate myself because as long as my male energy is moving, then I'm forever going to be able to be in control. But this paradigm is for the duality, the balance of it all. If you stay in masculine energy, you shorten your life in the physical body. Get what I'm trying to get you to see. It's not that it's not supposed to be utilized, it's a balance. You're supposed to have half body, half mind, half body, half mind, half physical, half spiritual. But in a patriarchal thing, it's tricked you into utilizing more masculine energy, which, yes, you can get things quicker in the material realm because you're in the body. So you can go pick this and get that and make your money and tap on this and all the tangibles of the material realm you can get, but you won't last long. Y'all don't hit me. You won't last long. What's going on, Gaming Mo? You won't last long. Okay? Ain't nobody told you that. So what they're doing is wearing you out with your wants, needs, and desires. You wouldn't suffer if you did not need and desire anything. Being in the middle, it keeps you in your patience. So now you're waiting on nature. You know that there's a time to rest, so you don't consume. You know that there's a time to flourish, so you don't develop. You know that there's a time for growth and development, so you don't fall off. You know there's a time of falling off, so you don't worry about regeneration. Now, how is it that the earth is showing you that there's everything, that there's a cyclical nature? You're going to have a time of growth and development. And that could be in some good things or some bad things. That could be some cancerous things in the body, but there can be some effective ideals in the time and space. You're going to have a time of flourishing when you're at your greatest point. But you're also going to have a time of winter when you're at your physical. The summer of life, you're at your highest point physically. The winter of life, you're at your lowest point physically. The fall of life, you start seeing things leaving. The spring of life, you start seeing things come. Can you understand that concept? So then, if nature is showing me these particular symbologies and seasons of life, then I can have that in a day, I can have that in a week, I can have these in a month, a year, or a lifetime. If I understand what moments they're bringing, then I understand the season and I know how to garden in that season. I know how to till, I know what to wear. I can be prepared for the weather of life. You can be prepared for the moment. So if you sick, you're in the winter of an issue. That issue has gotten into the winter season of it, and that's disease. But then you must transfer your body into spring or summer in order to heal. I just gave you some secrets right then because if you knew that these are the temperament, spring represents hot and wet, summer represents hot and dry, winter represents cold and wet, fall represents cold and dry. So not only did I just give you the opposites remedy, there's a remedy there. So if I'm in the winter of life, if I got a disease that got me debilitated, if I can't physical body gone. That means I'm feeble. I can't move. I'm in my infantry or my elderly state, or I'm on my deathbed. That is called the winter of life. That's why the hospital is so goddamn cold in there. That's why your body go cold. You see what I'm trying to say? Because you're in the winter of life. And so if you understand what I'm speaking to you today, is that if you give in to the summer, if you bring summer into a winter season, that's when revival starts. That's when rejuvenation starts. But you got to know how to introduce hot and dry to a cold and wet body. And we know how to do that with your owner's man. So, easy, $50. And that understanding, that categorization of things, instead of being too technical, instead of being too doctorish, instead of being too, political, instead of being too articulate, instead of being too over the head of the person who's actually dealing with the issue, we can simplify this now and have that information in the palm of your hand. And when I got a cold and wet, so you got a snotty nose baby, you got sinus. All these is cold and wet. Don't nobody even know you got a cold until you got cold coming in your eyes and cold coming out of your nose. That's not cold. They would touch your forehead, and if your forehead was hot, then they know you got a cold. You cold on the inside, hot on the outside, cold on the inside. Snot is cold. Sinuses, cold. Any kind of mucus is cold because mucus is cold and wet. Dehydration, arthritis, cold and dry. Issues with the blood, hot and wet, and hot and dry. Good information. What they're doing is giving us good information, but wrong application. I'm coming into the paradigm to give you good information with the right application. So you can finally start to get some reciprocity. We can finally start rival the health arena. And then also we can finally start to depend on nature and create more conservation and preservation of this old ancient knowledge, but also this old ancient understanding. We got to be able to do that. Okay? So that's got to be understood. All right. Anything else? Anything else before I ride out of here? Any other questions? Explain the parable of Moses parting the Red Sea. That ain't nothing but your mind. Okay. Again, that's all we're talking about, the Red Sea. Right. So all we're talking about is a consciousness and the parting of the mind. Okay. Not the parting of actual ocean. Okay. So when you're looking at the understanding of water, then we're talking about the mind, the spirit. Right. Water resembles the mind of the spirit. So you're parting your mind. Okay. And what we need to do is try to work together in order to have that done. Ways to get oxygen in cells. So the only way to get oxygen in cells is to understand the body and understand that the body has a transportation system. So if I told you out of the 12 systems, when you're looking at respiratory system, skeletal system, integumentary system, the lymphatic system, your endocrine system, nervous system, circulatory system. What else we got? Your excretory system. Which one would you deem to be your transportation system? Okay, so getting oxygen to the cells meaning I got to get transportation. Your transportation then would be your circulatory system, which is through the blood. Okay, through the blood. Now, which one of these systems that I told you work well with the blood? The endocrine system. Okay, let me get my YouTubers to be able to see this. Yeah, but the endocrine system, right, works well with the blood. So that means that we'll have to watch our feelings, which is why I keep going over here. This is a component to your healing. You can't just keep so if you putting vitamins and minerals and water and oxygen and glucose in the blood, but you still got this going on over here, right? This overflow of feelings about this paradigm, then guess what? These are called endocrine disruptors. So they will disrupt the blood, causing more growth factors to go into the blood than breaking down. So somebody said degenerative disc. Now you ain't getting enough stuff to an area. So that means you got to change the communication system on both ends, not just the nervous, but also the endocrine system must tell the body to grow. You got to get growth factors to the degenerative disc. And those growth factors are going to have messages of growth, not degenerate. It's a messaging system. It's a fluid-based messaging system. That's what this is. It's a fluid-based messaging system that has things that are going to go through it utilizing electrical impulses through water, just like a dolphin uses its sonar, right? And then you're going to have the endocrine system also injecting information into the blood. So you got one going through the telephone line and the other one going through the transportation system, the blood. So how you get it down is through the nervous system and through the endocrine system, which means you get it down through the blood. So you eat it. And when you eat it, the digestive system will excrete and put it into the blood as well. How do you get it out of the masculine phase? By understanding how to ascend. The masculine phase is the lower self, right? And so you just got to learn how to ascend. If you can't concentrate, you can't meditate. If you can't meditate, you can't elevate or procreate the life that you're trying to live. So how do you come up out of your masculine system is simply by raising your energy, going up, raise up. Raise up is a mentality. Raise up your level of understanding. You know that that feminine energy is very much needed. Yeah, if you can't concentrate, you can't meditate. And if you can't meditate, then you won't be able to focus long enough to get to where you want to get to. How to connect to energy? Again, if you can't elevate, right? Elevation. Meditation is elevation. You must learn how to concentrate and focus on being content with being patient with nature, not what you want to do. You're riding the waves backwards, and some of y'all have got a cheat code, so you stand in the summer. When you're supposed to go through the whole thing, y'all done hijack this little science over here. And then most of us don't know what we're doing in the season. These elites, like illuminated, follow this path, know how to get the most out of it. You can't meditate, Angelica, because you can't concentrate. You can't focus. You got so much going on. You're busy minded, being under Satan's yoke, being under the Lord's self. There's no such thing as Satan or the devil, but there is a such thing as the Lord's self, which is a state of being. Okay, it's a place that you can get to. It's a sunken place. It's a place of confusion. It's a place of darkness. It's a place of being lost. Yeah, I know. If you understand, if you know how to focus and concentrate, you'll understand what I'm trying to say because that focus and concentration is also a commitment level that you need to get out of that health condition. Say yes, I'm so confused. Yeah, but you can find the answers if you can only focus. You got to get time. Some of y'all need to get a vacation and don't try to go plan nothing. You just need to sit down. So we need your book ASAP. Yeah, man, we're gonna try to get it to you. What's the best way to concentrate to meditate? You just focus on something. Like focus on your breathing. That's what I try to tell people to do this. Plug your ears up. Don't try to do guided meditation. I don't have nothing against nobody. So don't say, oh, he said, I ain't got nothing against nobody, but I will reveal to you the best way I think that you should do this. Okay. No guided, because when you guide it, you still focusing on voice. Whether that be music, whether that be a voice. And that's taking your concentration off of you. But if you put earmuffs in or you put something to stop your hearing, right? And then you start to listening to your own breath. You start to focus on your own breath. That's concentrating. And you give yourself a task of hearing that 30 times. I'm gonna do 30 deep breaths, and I'm gonna focus on hearing every one of them. Every inhalation, every inhalation, and every exhalation. I want to hear it for 30 seconds, and you focusing on you internally. No guiding. This teaches you focus and concentration. This also inadvertently makes you meditate. Focus on the circle you see that glows in the color. And you ain't got to do that. Just focus on the breathing. Plug your ears, deep breaths in and out, and focus on how that sounds. You start to get back in touch with your life, your energy. Okay? So again, we teach you all of this on the HerbMan show. You guys again, your little funky music, $50 man, to go get what you need on this manual. Please understand that this is what we do all day, every day. We don't, hey, look, there is nothing that you can't do. Okay, there's nothing that you can't do. Hold the breath of life. You want to hold it, you can. I don't necessarily recommend the holding of it. I just recommend the listening to it, right? And then you can also add a little humming during the exhalation because another key component is to exhale longer than you inhale, especially when we're talking to Angelica 25, right? You want to focus on exhaling longer than you inhale. That is the trick to meditating and breathing simultaneously. Is that you want to focus more on exhaling longer than you inhale. That means that you can add a hum to it or the om that you think that they saying. And then that's a vibratory methodology of releasing more exhalation than inhalation. That's all om is doing. Y'all talking about some om mean this and om mean that and om did this. No, all it's doing is adding that extra vibration allows for more exhalation. You put voice or vocal onto exhalation, it allows for longer exhalation, which then also relaxes, gives signals to the body to contact the pineal, aka the vagus nerves, and the vagus nerves send monitoring impulses to the central nervous system to relax it, to get into its parasympathetic thing. Well, in that is sleep, rest, relaxation, and that's where your healing is at. That's where that feminine energy is at. Wow, I done gave y'all some really big nuggets today. I mean, like you can go and start your own thing with some of the stuff that you done had today, okay? All of this for a simple birthday. With a simple birthday. Watching you from my mom's phone, you just inspired me. Thank you, Takesha. Oh, what's up, man? We appreciate all of you guys for the love, man. We thank you. Just let your energy help connect, hear the sound of the universe. Yeah, conscious awareness of how the body works. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Holistic G Monster, we healing fine. Well, good. I'm glad you guys are tuning in on the YouTube channel, man. Go over there and really support us there. Just in case something going on with TikTok, then we can still be able to rock and drop this information. I just got here late, but never. Hey, look, you can be. It's better to be here, period, than not to be here at all. Okay. So glad that you're here. Continue to keep tuning in every day from 10 a.m. to 12 Eastern Standard Time. Yes, I'm in South Africa right now, but we're still trying to keep this time slot for our people over in America so that you can just understand all this information and continue to keep building on what we've been building for years. I've been in the herb shop. You guys have seen me when I was in the flea market to the storefront. Now we're traveling and I call it the world tour, so to speak, but it ain't really. But we're getting that started, and we're just gonna be teaching people about how to get back into their true nature. Okay? So understand that as far as the timing, the secret about getting you off of nature. How did they get us off of nature? With the calendars, okay? With the Gregorian calendar and all this type of stuff, they started to get us out of nature, okay? Even back in the time, they told you that really South America was North Africa, right? Because North is really South. We were gonna go there, okay? That's a whole nother paradigm. But the changing of these directional arrows or the changing or the miscalculation of these calendar days and all of that can slowly but surely get you out of tune with nature. Okay. So what I've started to teach people is how to be able to navigate every day. Every day is going to give you something. Okay. Every single day is going to give you something for you to be able to understand the thermometer of that day. I'm dead serious. Every single day. Somebody down here in the chat, real quick. Keep tapping the screen. We got about 8 minutes. Let's get us to 150 in 8 minutes. I'm gonna show y'all something real quick. Somebody give me the temperature of their day today. What was the temperature of whatever state you're from? Y'all can go slow because I want to give everybody an understanding of this shit. I want the temperature, and you can tell me if it rained or not. Okay, just give me the temperature of your day. Okay, user 1807, 78. 78 is going to be a wet day. Is it hot and dry or hot and wet? So user 1807, did it rain? 13 to me, 67. Did that rain? OY Shepherd's Bakes, 78. 65, 95. Was it hot and dry? Okay, 70, 78 and rainy. A hot and wet day. So if a hot and wet day, how do I balance that out? First, I got to know what I need to do because my body is already 98 degrees or 97 degrees. So you already hot and wet if you're in that category, okay? But you might be dealing with some cold and dry stuff. See what I'm saying? So today I already told me wherever OY was at in North Carolina, it was a hot and wet day. That was going to tell me that it was going to be a humid and wet day. So what I need to do is make sure that I don't get too hot and wet internally. So I'm going to watch my hydration today. And I'm going to balance my body out with the day. Body stuff to eat more cooling stuff. So on a hot and wet day, if I'm not dealing with a cold and dry condition, I'll eat cold and dry. On a cold and dry day, if I'm not dealing with a hot and wet condition, then I'll eat more hot and wet. And the day is changing all the time. So you just know how to do your own meteorology. You'll know how to do your diet because the dates are going to go with the seasons. So as long as you know how to do a day, then you know how to get through a season. Did y'all just hear that? Did y'all just hear that? 98 degrees, it was hot and dry. You should have done cold and wet. Okay, because if you do something hot and dry, so on a hot and dry day, if you go out there and barbecue, and if you eat the meat, the proteins require higher energy. Higher energy increases higher temperatures in the body. Let me repeat that. Hot and dry, we normally barbecue in the summer. So we are barbecuing on a hot and dry day. We now created a hot and dry environment with a barbecue. Because that's what fire is. Then we're eating meat that will cause hot and dry in the body. Or hot and wet, but it's gonna cause hot. So you'll see that those times are not the proper time to eat those foods. Therefore, you got high blood pressure. Simple. Because you overheat the body because you're not eating. And I'm just giving you an understanding that if your own meteorologist, or if you're looking at the weatherman, the weatherman is not telling you just about the weather outside. The weatherman is telling you about how to eat. And y'all don't even know. And you don't even know it, man. Huh? And you don't even know it. Because at the end of the day, you want to nap because that's the thing of the sun. 6 a.m., 6 p.m. Westing is resting. 6 a.m. is easting, 6 p.m. is westing. The sun sets in the west. West, if you change the W to a R, it means rest. Everybody wants a nap in the nighttime because the sun went down. You have no energy source. So therefore, the sun's going down is also the body going down. That's why men go to bed faster than women because we're on the sun cycle. They on the moon cycle. I want to order more herbs. Will they be shipped from South Africa? If you guys need your herbs, we will get you your herbs. We still got that going. All you gotta do is just DM me and let me know what you want, and we'll give you, especially if you want your native blends. Okay. So we got detoxes and native blends. That's all we got shipping out right now. Yeah, there you go. Rest in the West. We eat based on the weather each day. Yes. If you look at the weather, that's really telling you how to eat. In real talk. Weather is to be dictating how you should eat because the weather is going to impact your body temperature. Your body temperature is going to impact the rate at which your cells can do the work of keeping you alive. If you put those cells in an environment that's not conducive to procreating themselves, especially good healing cells, then guess what? They won't do what you want them to do. So it's that temperature control that you must be handling, and that temperature control can really come from you understanding weather. Weather dictates diet. I call it the climate-based diet. A climate-based diet is to make sure that you fundamentally in tune with the weather patterns of the day. So if you know you're on a hot day, you know you should have you some watermelon. But if you're on a cool day, just because it's summertime and it's cool, don't mean that's the day for watermelon. Watermelon will cool you down. What happens is that you got so cold, your baby don't walk around there with snotty nose because you gave them some watermelon with the air conditioner on 70. They're not outside no more. So you got the air conditioner on 65, 70, you got it freezing in here, and you done gave the baby watermelon, and now you wake up the next day and the baby got a summer cold. Got a summer cold because of the environment in which that body is in. You're cooling down the body via air conditioning, and then you went and get watermelon. Now you thinking because it's summer outside, but what about the temperature inside? Climate-based understanding. You're creating these temperamatic or temperature fluctuations, and you don't know how to eat based on them. That's creating disease. That's creating disease. Thank you, Mr. Herman. This is my fourth time in this chat. I definitely want to get that on this, man. Hey, man, anytime you're ready, we are ready for you. All you got to do is DM me and we'll get you the information that you need, man. We appreciate all 170 of you, man. Let's get this thing up to 300 viewers that we used to have. We're going to be showing you more and more and more about how to heal yourself. Just stay tuned. Keep telling your friends. Go tell somebody. Go tell somebody about your man. Look, you know I love you guys. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Until next time. Love HerbMan. See you in the AM. Peace. Peace. YouTube, man. Appreciate y'all. Be back tomorrow.